I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
Keanu Reeves always knows that I'm tired. Because he says, I know you're tired.
I know you're tired.
And then, you know what? Rob Schneider always knows that I can do it.
He picks me up.
Because I can do it.
And then that goat, he just knows how I feel inside. Because sometimes you just have to scream.
That's my rally cry. Ah! Welcome to another hot record.
And then I love JB's voice. He's channeling his inner Vanderbeek from fucking Friday Night Lights.
Right.
I don't want your life.
Man, I'm telling you, when Jables McBables, when I hear that sweet voice, I go, dang, here it comes. Here it comes.
See, JB's on. He's with us in every episode.
I love it.
That.
Jables McBables, we're here for you, man. We love you. We love you. And you know who loves us? Podbelly.com. Podbelly.com always approves of all the hot stuff we're putting out week after week.
Just hungry for information.
When you're hungry for information, boom.
I go pig out. You know what I pig out on? Podcasts. I go look at that cute little picture of the little smushy Kevin Bacon.
Smushy face Kevin Bacon.
I just want to
Not the real Kevin Bacon in the actor. I'm talking about the logo.
Talking about the Podbelly logo. It's this cute little piggy. Sometimes he's winking. Sometimes he's smiling.
Oh, really?
But he's always bacon.
He's doing both, actually, when I see him right now on your
he's
sticker right
winky
here.
Smiley face.
Winky,
oh, yeah, you can
smiley
see
face.
Winky smiley face, but he's better than any emoji. And you know what? There is a cute little pig emoji that looks like Kevin Bacon.
Go on.
Hold on.
But either which way, one of my biggest things is welcome to another hot record, the 89th episode. The 89th episode of Project Reclamation. Oh, I got that right now. That's just a regular
emoji.
That's just a regular emoji, but not like the Podbelly.com one.
No, he's not. This one's not quite as cute.
Bro, I can't even tell you how many things.
This is how Tim communicates. Sorry, I cut you off, but I'm going to keep cutting you off.
Cut me off, you son of a
this is
bitch.
how Tim communicates with emojis. Somebody said something, and I replied with thumbs up, fist bump, pig, warthog, unicorn.
Wow.
Go decode that, people.
I just did. Gross.
There was nothing gross about it when I did it, but hey. What
I know what that means.
You know what I was thinking?
Huh.
Chicka-chicka.
Boom, boom, boom.
That song has been stuck in my head like all afternoon.
Dude, a lot of stuff is getting stuck in your head recently. Why is that?
I saw the sign. You know why, dude? Because I haven't been drinking.
Okay.
I've been eating healthy. I've been working out. I've been loading up on caffeine. And my brain is just Now I remember why I used to drink, because my brain is just like overload with
going
just
overtime.
Information. Dude, this is why sometimes I have to shut my brain off, because my brain just never stops. It just goes boop, 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 boop.
You're like an artist.
It's like a car with square wheels going 80 miles an hour.
Damn. That's a lot. That almost feels like it's the road coming up to my house here on Waring Road.
Yeah,
I swear to
road
gosh.
coming up to your house is a piece of shit.
Were you driving
Thanks,
on
California tax dollars.
I know.
Really doing a good job here.
Were you using your $80? Were you going 80 miles an hour with your flux capacitor and with the square wheels? Because I feel like you're just blazing up my street right there on Waring Road. Man, I can't tell you how excited I am to have you guys listening. Welcome to another wonderful record of Project Reclamation. Holy smokes, how did we do it? How did we do it, man? We're coming up with always original content. I can't even tell you what a big week this has been here in San Diego. If you're listening to this, we're recording it right after the Padres, the San Diego Padres, are our local team, our only team, minus the Seals and the Gulls and all these other random side ancillary sport teams.
Not to take anything away from those teams.
No.
As far as the big three go,
the big
all
four,
we have left. What's the fourth?
Oh, hockey.
Okay.
Hockey.
I'd like a hockey team. I could be a hockey fan.
Well, we do have a hockey team here. They're called the San Diego Gulls.
Oh, I thought they were gone.
No. They're here. They're actually really, really good.
We should go to a game.
Well, we should. They're actually the most expensive one, though, to kind of go to a game to. It's like $30 a ticket. And I go, well, here's what you're saying. Steve, stop being so cheap. $30 a ticket. But you have to understand, it's $30 for minor league hockey. I don't know if I would pay $30 to see a minor league game.
I feel like those games should be like $10.
Yeah. And here's what it is.
Unless the Gulls want to sponsor Project Reclamation.
Oh, because you know the San Diego Gulls are our team then. Bam!
Well, we really want to go. We'd even want to,
We'll do a record from the game.
Oh, dude.
That would be fun.
But you know what? Project Reclamation could be like huge Seals fans too.
Dude, I will tell you, the Seals.
Their logo is fucking sick.
You like their logo. I don't think you like that little side logo, the alternate logo, but their main logo is just a seal's face with a crown on it. It's cool. Don't get me wrong.
Which one did I look at that I thought
You looked at
cool?
the full seal with the full lacrosse stick and ball, just floating through the world.
That the...
Oh, you saw the main one. You saw this one.
That's the one I was looking at.
Oh, you like this one. Oh, okay, good.
I do like it. Yeah, I don't know why.
It's good. It's good. No, because it's...
I didn't think you could make a seal look badass, but they did.
Dude, this seal one, everyone knows if they just really, really wanted to do a seal, like a vicious seal thing, like, oh, we're going to get these people away from us.
A leopard seal.
You just need to make it scratch and sniff, because I swear to gosh, if you're ever around a seal, they smell so bad. Oh,
and you know what?
Defeated.
They look like dogs? They act like dogs. They're like water dogs, basically. But they're like a wild dog. Like, you wouldn't go pet a wild fucking dog. So don't try to pet a seal because they'll bite you.
Ugh,
and their bites are nasty.
That's terrible. It is terrible. But
we're veering off topic here.
We always do.
I know.
We always do. That's our baseline.
Of tangents. It's the tangential forest.
Welcome. Hello, Tim and Steve, your tour guides. We'll try and get you there, but we don't know where it's going to go. Man, what was I going to tell you about? Holy smokes. It's getting back. So here's what it is, and I'm being serious. This week, the Padres had unveiled their new logos, their new colors, man. I can't tell you how excited I am because there's this whole campaign going around called Brown is Back.
So are they their new colors or are they their old colors?
I don't know. One of their original colors was brown.
It was brown and gold. Yellow,
but they started in the 70s, so brown was kind of hot back then.
Now let's do, it was. Yeah. Those were very...
Brown, orange, Taco Bell.
70s colors.
Yeah.
But what I also will say, and I think I tried to point this out to Steve earlier, blew his fucking mind. Let me tell you, that brown on their jerseys would be the same brown worn by...
Actual Friars. That's crazy. Like I didn't.
Padres, actual fathers.
I had never made that connection.
Spanish people who came up and civilized shit and built some missions and put up some bells and all that shit that happened in California, and that's why California is what it is. And that's what they're named after. So the Friars, the Padres, they're named after the Friars.
I had never put that together, and that was the hardest thing. I don't know why.
So that brown is the same brown that you'll see, go watch an old, friggin' movie, and you see some friar with a fucking weird friar's haircut and a brown robe.
We should honestly
look really comfortable though.
We should honestly get down to the brass tacks of why their hair was cut in that fashion. I wonder why. I wonder if it was just to make them closer to God somehow, or not have any hair in the way of their thoughts or their full transparency. I'm not so sure.
If they all had their hair cut that way.
It was that bowl cut where it was all just shaved on the top. It was like
the old man haircut, like the top, like you literally have a ring or like a halo around your head. It's kind of like the George Costanza cut, basically.
All right.
But so that was that haircut was originally worn by the Capuchin monks.
How did you know that?
Because I know things.
All right.
So if you look at a Capuchin monkey, the little cute little Capuchin monkey like Ross had in Friends,
the
monkey from Outbreak, that's a Capuchin monkey. If you look, it has that weird little thing.
That's so funny. I never even thought about it. That's why I'm learning so much right now. This is blowing my mind. That's why it's called the Capuchin monkey, because that was the hairdo worn by the Capuchin monks. Now, what is a Capuchin monk, you ask? I have no fucking clue. I'm glad you followed up monk with the F word.
Monkey, Capuchin monk. Now you're wondering.
I am effing don't know.
Now because we've talked about this so many times about talking with conviction, you're wondering if I'm making all this shit up or not.
Oh, whether or not you are, here's what it is about conviction sometimes, and obviously belief is that sometimes it takes a leader, a person that's willing to just grab the reins and actually go ahead and do stuff. And I feel like so many people are just like, yeah, cool, go ahead and do it. I'm good. Yeah, I'll just follow. Have you ever been in a scene where somebody's like, oh, you're in a big group of more than 4 people. Where do you want to go to dinner? Oh, I want Italian. I want Chinese. Everyone's I got their chiming in with their all this stuff. All right, someone just got to choose. I don't have a choice. Or have you ever been in the opposite where people just hey, where do you want to go? I don't care. Somebody's got to take the lead, and honestly, if you're going to take the lead on that information, I'm all about listening to it. I honestly am about listening to it because it just sounds good to my ears, and plus, it doesn't make me, I don't have to think. And so trust me, I'm all right, cool. It sounds legit enough. I'm willing to take it.
All right, so since we brought this up,
all right,
I did a little research, and by that I mean Google.
All right, good old Googles.
This hairdo worn by the what is it, the something monk order minor Capuchin. And they are people who dedicate their life to the practice of worshiping God, et cetera, et cetera. The haircut is called a tonsure, Tonsure, is the practice of cutting or shaving some or all of the hair on the scalp as a sign of religious devotion or humility. The term originates from the Latin word tonsura, meaning clipping or shearing, and referred to a specific practice in medieval Catholicism, abandoned by a papal order in 1972. Tonsure can also refer to the...
1972.
Oh, yeah, it is 1972.
That just recently got abandoned.
Tonsure can also refer to a secular practice of shaving all or part of the scalp to show support or sympathy, or to designate mourning. Current usage more generally refers to cutting or shaving for monks, devotees, or mystics of all religions as a symbol of their renunciation of worldly fashion and esteem. So it's basically literally cutting your hair in a way that will make no one think you look cool, nor anyone of the opposite sex think you're attractive, to show your devotion and your humility to God and religion. It's pretty badass, actually.
Dude, because you really do have to have some kind of
And I was
devotion.
serious about the whole Capuchin monkey thing being named after the Capuchin monks because it looks like they have that little hairdo.
Dude, do you think about that? That is so true, though, because so many people put so much time and effort. I mean, it's so funny. You always think about some of the people that I've had the great pleasure of, like, kind of working with a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. And some women that I work with, they said they went to Catholic school and stuff like that. And I was like, great, that's awesome. And she's like, they would always be like, yeah, it was great because we had a uniform. And I was like, okay, we didn't have to think about what we had to wear to school. We just knew we just went in a uniform. So it was just like, that's what we're wearing to school every single day. We don't have to put effort and energy into it. This is just what it is. And I think to myself, holy smokes, how much time in my high school or in my like kind of growing up years was wasted on gotta look cool, gotta like do things, gotta be impressed, gotta be impressive, And it's like that's the hardest part is that you just waste so much time doing some social BS, And honestly, who you are is who you are.
Okay, so did we talk about what the topic is today?
I don't think we've brushed on it.
We are talking about roots. So I'm about to go totally sidebar on this, but I believe that it fits with our topic. So
it fits
bear
in line
with
with who we are.
We're talking about roots and getting back to your roots because what the Padres did is the Padres used to have these ugly-ass brown and yellow uniforms. They veered off fairly recently, and they went and did blue and yellow and these
in the
cool
90s,
whatever and a bunch of different. Now I do love the camo ones, and they're going to keep that because we're a huge military town here in San Diego. So
the Padres started off as like brown and then white, maybe, and then they went to brown and orange, then they went to brown, orange, and yellow,
but recently they went
to blue and white. They were blue and orange.
Have had so many different uniforms. They're searching for something, but they kind of lost their identity. And now what they've done is they're like, you know what? We're going to go back to the roots. But they came up with a very, very cool version of what they started with. So it's kind of cool. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. But on the topic of roots, I was just looking up this whole Capuchin monkey. I'm thinking cappuccino might come from that same shit. Who knows? And I veered down this rabbit hole, and I wanted to share it with you.
All right.
So this is about talking about where words come from. So take, for instance, the tasty strozzopreti pasta, named after an Italian phrase which literally means priest strangler.
The way you said that,
Strozzopreti.
So it means priest strangler.
Yes. Or
Wow.
consider the delicious avocado fruit, named after the word which the Aztecs used to describe testicles.
Yeah.
What does an avocado look like?
They look
Testicles.
like-
However, what organ is the avocado really, really good for? Your testicles.
Is it really? Why?
Yeah, those healthy fats, they help testosterone production. Egg yolks, too.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right.
The name lemur, which is used to describe an adorable little animal, comes from the Latin word meaning spirit of the dead.
Wow. Why?
I don't know.
Does it look like a dead? It looks like
they're cute, but they're also kind of like that black and white thing. I can understand that kind of looks almost like Dia de los Muertos.
Okay.
Hundreds more words in English language are borrowed from other languages, and many of them have interesting stories behind them. Case in point, take the familiar coffee drink, cappuccino, which comes from the Italian word little hood. Don't understand how that works. The Italian word for hood, cappuccino, or cappuccio, and the ino being the addition which suggests small size. Oh, like ito in Spanish. The popular drink was first introduced in Italy, where it was named after its resemblance to the color of the robes worn by the Capuchin monks. Bam!
We tied it all back.
Boom. So, that being said, we're just talking about monkeys.
We just tied this all back.
Monkey.
Blowing my mind. Butterfly effect.
Where's the monkey? Capuchin monkeys also got their name because the colors reminded people of the hoods worn by the Capuchin monks. Oh, look at the little monkey. They're so cute. Hello, little monkey. Yeah, see, check it out. They got the little It looks like they're wearing a little skull
Yeah,
cap.
it does look like they're wearing a little Scully.
So, you're welcome. So that, roots are so important because you have roots. We have roots. The Padres had roots. And sometimes, kind of like, go back and, this is kind of a redux to our Wizard of Oz episode.
Okay.
Or the Oz Principle or whatever the fuck.
Tell them about it.
So if you haven't listened to that or you don't know what the Oz Principle or the Oz Theory is, I forget which one it's called. It doesn't really matter. Basically, what was the Wizard of Oz about? I forgot.
It was about individuals along their path that were searching for things
so this Dorothy
that they were missing.
She
or they
was
thought
trying
that
to
they were
find
missing.
her way home.
Yeah.
You had a lion who was trying
didn't have
to
a heart.
find courage because
Oh,
he didn't
courage.
have courage.
Okay.
You had a
The Tin Man wanted a
scarecrow.
heart.
The Tin Man needed a heart, and the
Okay.
Scarecrow needed a brain. So they all get together, and the lion's like, I am the king of the forest. And then the Scarecrow's like, if I only had a brain. And the Tin Man, maybe he had a song too. I don't fucking remember. So they're all searching, and they find the wizard, and the wizard turns out to be a total fucking fraud. And it's like they wasted all this time trying to find different things that they thought they needed. But what they find out at the end is what, Steven?
Because they had everything all
They
along.
had it all along.
Boom.
That is
I haven't even
something-
seen this movie. I already figured it out.
So that is something that I think is something that we find a lot, where we search for something and search for something that we think we don't have when really we had it all along.
Now I will
So-
tell you, this is no fairy book storybook ending. Sometimes I'd be honest with you. Sometimes people will go through all the crazy depths of hell to kind of find out that they had everything all along, the whole while that it was always there. But I will tell you that part of that journey is that that movie was long too. The Wizard of Oz was like 4 fucking hours or something like that, wasn't it?
That was made like freaking 80 years ago.
Yeah. But regardless, it's just like, sometimes you do have to kind of go through this huge struggle to realize, like, hey, man, maybe some of the best stuff was some of the stuff that you had the whole time here. And I swear to gosh, like, just even watching all that Padres stuff as they were debuting their new look and their new uniforms and so they wanted to return to just a level of consistency. Like, from my understanding of what I've seen on all their news reports is that they're not going to be changing their uniform colors. They're not going to be changing their uniforms themselves like they have before. It seems like every 10 years you'd have just a new style to them. And I'm like, it's really hard to develop a reputation or a foundation.
Well, even in the last 10 years, even when they had like I feel like they had so many different jerseys. I mean, it's kind of like the Oregon Ducks, dude. The Oregon Ducks have like 50 different fucking jerseys, and they change their jerseys like every game.
Sure. Oregon Ducks have their base in innovation. So sometimes I think to myself, boy, they were never a very, very popular team when I was growing up. They were always kind of like the last one during when it was called the Pac-10. I don't know of a single person that liked their colorway scheme of green and bright green and bright yellow. But I said to myself, okay, but they made it work for themselves, meaning that I guess, they were like, okay, well, maybe innovation is one of our base things. And maybe this is how we're going to have to play this out.
Well, and they're sponsored by Nike.
Yeah, it's like a Nike
so
factory.
They just pump out different, but they have so many, like, I don't even know, like, I think because their color scheme is so kind of odd and very unique.
Well,
and very
it's just sharp. It's sharp color scheme. It's not just like your regular
so
black and white.
They keep it similar enough that you always recognize it, but it changes so often. It's like, I don't know what their jersey looks like.
But you always know that something is going to look different.
True. But who is the most recognizable franchise in all of baseball? The Yankees.
The Yankees.
And what do they keep things very, very, very...
Things have been very, very much that same way since the beginning.
Clean shaven. We have one uniform, and that shit hasn't changed in forever.
Black shoes. I mean, dude, there's no colors. There's no bright colors. No one's got nothing that stands out. It's all like, one team. Every member on the same team wears the same color boots.
They still do have like blue and white.
Yeah.
That's not so. But the funny thing is, the Padres were sitting on something, this ugly brown color that the monks used to wear, apparently, with a little bit of gold in there. They were sitting on this beautifully unique thing for years, and they
didn't realize it.
They didn't realize it, so they went off and they tried this blues and whites and more blues and golds and all sorts of oranges and some
brown,
other shit.
orange, gold, all this other stuff.
Went ugly, and then they went pretty. But then, anyways, what they found out, they ended up coming back to something that it's pure and it's simple, but funny enough, it's just basically a modernized version of what they always had.
And I will tell you this:
what they tried to get away from, they ended up going back to.
The people wanted it. The people that bought into them. The people that I would say a majority of everybody that like loves the Padres or that loves the individual wants them to always kind of return to like who they once were, Well, but then everyone's like, no, I know what's best for myself. I know how to do it. I know what I'm going to need to do for myself. I know what's going to be best for me. And I'm sure Everyone does know what's best for them, but I got to be honest with you. Sometimes the biggest lesson is just, how do you kind of sink it all back in? How do you reel it back in? You can be creative. You can have great ideas stemming from an initial, concept. How do you reel it back in, and how do you make it work,
Well, you can grow into the biggest, most awesome, coolest fucking tree in the world. But just mind that, you have those roots, and those roots are there for a reason. And those are your roots. And the world will never, ever see roots just like yours ever again. Those are your roots. And this is your tree. So you get to choose what kind of a tree you grow into and how big the tree gets and how awesome the tree is and what kind of leaves that tree has. You can be whatever version of you want, but don't lose yourself in the process of trying to make yourself better.
Yeah, and I would say this, even a bonsai is beautiful. A bonsai is probably one of the most beautiful things out there in the world. It's got small little roots that kind of just nestle themselves in, but it's cultivated that way. It's grown that way.
Like a freaking weird, like on the edge of a cliff or some crazy shit.
Yeah, dude. People have styled those things up, and people take time, and it takes time to master some things. I mean, some of those trees obviously are hundreds of years old, and they date so far back in history, etc. And it's an art form, just like you are, right? If whatever struggles you're kind of going through, well, I'm not as fast as that other person. I don't have as much as that other person. I don't have enough experiences like that other person. Hey, man, just always remember, even a bonsai is beautiful. Even a bonsai is beautiful to the hilt. It's just a matter of kind of just working through the processes and growing. Doesn't mean the roots aren't strong. I mean, you try and peel a bonsai tree out from its little dish. Good luck.
Small but mighty.
You take one of those big old oaks, and I guess you put some pressure on it. Strikes it down by, a car hits it on the side. Who knows?
No. They grow in California, so they just get burned down.
Yeah,
in our fucking fires.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Honestly, it's just about respecting and knowing your value. And I think once you kind of can figure that out here by whatever experiences you kind of go to, and just always knowing, always having a good foundation about who you are, who you once were, or what you'd like to kind of get to. I'm telling you, knowing is best, dude. Getting back to your roots is probably the way to kind of, once again, reel it all back into your original goals, your original values about who you are.
Because guess what, Scarecrow? You had a fucking brain all along. You just didn't realize it.
But I hope you enjoyed the walk, though. I hope you enjoyed the walk.
Well, and there is that journey in finding it, and sometimes you have to do that. I think oftentimes you have to do that. So I'm not discounting that, but just I guess what I'm saying is, in fact, I know what I'm saying is 100%, Steve, for sure.
Tell me about it.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is, and I think that's why the Padre, like Steve and I, we didn't know exactly what we were going to talk about. And then Steve was showing me these jerseys, and then literally this whole topic just kind of, it evolved organically.
Generating.
Yeah. So I think the whole thing was, I feel like they were trying so hard to find something new or figure out who they were that they lost themselves in all these different jerseys. But then, but then they came back, and what they ended up with when they decided to really settle in on something was just a modernized version of what they had 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah, can I just say, like, the one thing that I always think about whenever we're just even talking like this, I go, well, what's in my life right now that has always kind of been this way for me? And I will tell you this in full transparency. I'm telling you, and maybe anyone else is listening too, maybe you always just said, oh man, I got everything in my life kind of going on, but I don't have no love in my life, right? And so sometimes in my past, I've met somebody and I'm like, okay, wow, I really, really like this person, Jane Doe. Man, she is great. She's the bee's knees. She's into some certain stuff that you're not necessarily into, or maybe this other guy that you're dating is into stuff that you don't necessarily know about. Doesn't mean you don't want to learn about it, but it just means that sometimes maybe some stuff runs counterculture to what you believe in or what you've always felt was like right versus wrong, etc. You go, well, okay. Or maybe even you're so interested in this person that you're willing to do some zanier stuff that you're not necessarily used to or that you've never done before. That's great that people push your boundaries like that. But maybe you go, man, I don't really like it. I'm not really comfortable with it. I don't really dig it sometimes. But you do it obviously because you maybe like them. You love them. You care about them, sure. But then maybe you all of a sudden start doing more and more stuff. And you're like, okay, well, I'm just doing more and more stuff that this person likes. I'm always just about them. I'm always going to go and see the movie that they want to see, or I'm always just going and camping and doing all the stuff that I don't naturally do. And I even watch sports with them when I don't necessarily care about it. And you realize that you're starting to lose kind of grip on yourself or who you were or who you are or who you should be or who you want to be. And maybe you realize that maybe things aren't as equal, right? Maybe all this time and attention is getting taken away from you. And you all of a sudden realize, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, damn, I've been with this person for months, years, if not decades. And I go, I don't even know who I am anymore at this point. But I do know that like I've picked up a lot of knowledge on whatever my partner likes, but at the same time, what is it that I like? And it's almost like you have to you lost sight of who you are, or the things that made you, what you were. And so it's almost like a good reinvention, or it's almost a good time to just kind of look back retrospectively and take a look and say, hey, shoots, is brown really back? I mean, are these really my roots,
So that reminds me of a quote that we actually was talked about last episode. But I believe this is a perfect chance to bring that quote back. And this is by a gentleman who started a little company and then got fired from that company and then came back to lead that company to be one of the most innovative companies that I don't like in the world.
The story of
Steve Jobs. Here's the quote. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition.
Now, we're not saying, or especially Steven's not saying, hey, don't pay attention or don't start to grow, because you can certainly grow and you can add stuff to your tool bag along the way.
Yeah, but pay attention to your heart and your intuition.
That's right.
And you could try new things with someone. That's cool.
Sure, the Padres.
That. Or, you know what? It's okay if that special someone can still be special and they can have some of their own hobbies and you can have some of your own hobbies. You don't have to do everything together.
One of the biggest tells in the whole wide world is that the Padres, the one and only time they went to the World Series was when they were wearing a different color scheme other than their brown and gold or their brown. I mean, think about that.
What were they wearing?
Blue and orange. It doesn't mean that
gross.
you can't succeed. It doesn't mean that you can't be good. It doesn't mean that you can't find success or have success. But I swear to gosh, sometimes the best thing that you had all along was what you were all along, is what your original base was all along. Maybe it was that brown.
And I'm all about being bold. Be bold. Make yourself the best version of yourself, but don't lose yourself along the way because it's yourself that we want to make better. You don't need to be someone else. We're just trying to be better versions of ourselves. That's it.
That's it.
I don't know. Is there more?
I don't know.
I'm running out of steam.
I know. The one thing I would say
Yawning. I'm like, fuck.
The one thing that I would say is this. If you're listening to this Project Reclamation, you probably like Tim or you like myself or you like JB and you're like, hey, man, I like hearing these guys talk. I like hearing them just ramble on. That's great. Our foundations are we always try and we always keep ourselves accountable as friends. As three really, really best friends from childhood, we still always trying to keep ourselves accountable no matter what.
Steve is my best friend.
Because you're my best friend.
I'm the best friend.
But I will tell you that sometimes you do need kind of have some outside support, It's very, very easy to say, hey, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. It's very, very hard to actually do it, right? And sometimes when we're asking to tap in back to your roots and tap in back to who you were, it's very, very easy for us to say it. Sometimes you just kind of need somebody to always kind of remind you, though, a little bit about who you once were, to kind of like refresh it and almost kind of put yourself back in that same mindset or mentality when you yourself aren't able to.
100%.
That's why I'm always appreciative of Tim and JB. Oh, man.
Well, and we keep each other in check,
Yeah. Brown is back. Chang has always been here. Tim's always been here.
Chang is back.
JB is there. JB's always around.
We're gonna get JB back on this.
JB's always around, man.
JB was hanging out in Orange Beach, man.
And JB did not quit this podcast.
Over in
don't you think one bit?
Alabama. To
all the Project Reclamation listeners, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you enough and how much I appreciate you guys and everyone at Mercy. Oh my goodness sakes. If you're listening,
loving you over at Mercy,
loving you, giving the mercy,
all y'all people saving lives, enjoying our podcast.
There's such a good vibe going there now. Everyone's so
what's
positive.
motivational to me is people that save lives and help people. That's motivational to me.
I love that.
So this is, I know you guys work with Steve, but this is Tim saying, hey, I want to meet you all, and I want you guys to come on the podcast if you so are inclined. Pick a topic. We'll talk about it. And hey, any of you other listeners, you want to get on this podcast? Hit me up. We can make it happen. You got a topic that's near and dear to your heart, or you got something maybe a little darker you want to talk about. Maybe you got some sort of a PTSD or something that Steve and I are not experts on or can't talk about, or not educatedly at least. Then yeah, hit us up.
But I will tell you that if that's part of who you are, because that's one of your roots, or that's part of one of the branches of your roots, dude, we're willing to listen and we're willing to kind of get you back on track.
Yeah, because you're a beautiful, beautiful tree. But it's your tree because it's you.
Yeah. Palm tree.
This is the weird root analogy I'm trying to do here, but it's working. You know what? Yeah, you could be a palm tree where your roots go straight down.
Oak tree.
Or you could be one of those annoying oak trees and your roots
tears
go
up the
all
sidewalk.
tear up the sidewalk and fuck everything up. Yeah.
You be one of those
dude.
messy, smelly eucalyptus trees, man. I can never clean that stuff up.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
or what,
man.
that sycamore? You're gonna be like one of the trees with the root, the bark, and the willow bark, and
That's too fancy. I don't live in those neighborhoods.
I don't either. I don't know. Oh,
Man.
willow.
Either which way, whatever tree it is, man. Just always remember, even a bonsai is beautiful, baby. Actually, bonsais are supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah, bonsais.
Why am I saying even a bonsai? I don't know. What's an ugly tree? I don't even know.
Oh, redwoods are kind of pretty, but
Yeah, I think
the
every
pine
tree.
needle's just fucking horrible, dude.
I'm trying to think. Well, right now, this queen palm in my front yard.
Oh,
is
queen palms
killing
are
me.
disgusting, dude.
It is killing me.
You got to get a king palm, bro.
Well, yeah, except I'm not going to buy no more palm trees no more.
Who
Trust me.
named the palm trees, man? Like, why is the dirty, disgusting, shitty one the queen, and the pristine, beautiful one that doesn't shed shit everywhere is the king?
I don't know.
It's kind of sexist, you
Well,
know?
we're not about that here at Project Reclamation.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm offended.
Ah, well, you should be.
I'm offended. But yeah, my dad is a king, and that thing's great, and it's not nearly as messy as yours. Yours,
Yeah. Mine's the messiest
I like
thing.
your little triple palm outside though. That was
Yeah,
nice.
one of them is like really, really just growing though. I think one of them is just taking
Oh,
over.
it's sucking the life out of the other ones.
Yeah, like the other one, like one of the little ones is so skinny. It's like a
learned-
3 palm thing, like coming out of one
Yeah,
little
it's like
base.
a triple palm.
And like the other one is just growing by
My
leaps
dad
and
used to
bounds.
have, or he kind of still he still has roses, and he was teaching me how to cut how to trim the roses, prune the roses. There you go. That's what I was
Yes.
looking for. And I learned that if you ever see a big not called a branch, what is it?
a big like stem.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's whatever.
All right.
Anyways, if there's one that's just bright green and just shooting out, it's called a sucker because it's taking all the water from the rest of them. So you got to cut that shit out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all I remember about pruning roses. So
I
you're
wonder
welcome.
why one of them would just kind of take on that lead
You know,
role.
if I was gonna go like be like a plant person, I think that one of the things that fascinates me the
Botanist.
most is not a botanist, more just like someone
A
who just, like-
horticulturalist.
yeah, like you take care of have like look at my beautiful. What do you call it? Not fucking
Garden.
like a
Greenhouse.
I guess. I don't know.
Collective.
Orchids, man, those are fucking cool.
Oh, dude, have you ever go up to like in what is it? It's not San Clemente. Like it doesn't matter. Cardiff by the Sea or something like that. They have that whole like
Isn't that an Encinitas?
Encinitas, that's right. They have that whole like
Encinitas,
farm up there
do
with
they?
the tulips, but then they have
No, you're thinking of it's Carlsbad. The flower,
Carlsbad.
Over
but they
on
have-
Palomar Airport Road.
they have this huge like literally football fields of worth of orchids.
Do
dude,
they
like,
really?
in greenhouses back there? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh,
but they
dude,
have,
it's
but the flower
impressive.
fields are so cool. It literally looks like. I mean, we're talking about Wizard of Oz. That whole scene where they're running through the poppies and it's just like crazy, and then they get drugged and they fall asleep. But that's such a cool visually. That's such a cool scene because of all those flowers are so beautiful.
It's very, very pretty.
But yeah, I know. So if you're ever anywhere near North County, San Diego, go check out the
In the springtime, do it.
Is
Oh
it
my
the springtime
God.
that it's the
Yeah.
coolest?
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
orchids are so cool, man, and they're so hard to take care of, and there's so much to them. It's crazy.
a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I learned that there's one called like the vampire orchid, and there's like ghost orchid and all kinds of crazy ones. And then some of them are like parasitic and they like kill things. And
Wow.
yeah, dude, nuts.
How did you learn all
Obsessed.
this stuff from?
I don't know. My dad always really liked orchids when I was
Okay.
growing up, and I don't know. I learned a few things about orchids.
All right.
I think it was my dad. Maybe I'm making all this up. We used to have some orchids. I think my dad has some orchids.
Orchids
My
are
dad's
beautiful.
actually got a really good green thumb. He's really good at that kind of shit.
Well, I would
I'm not
say-
so good. I just kill things.
Your dad is very, very good with his hands because he's a painter by
He is.
trade, and he's just a
He's very
caring soul,
handy.
and he's very, very handy. He knows how to fix stuff. I mean, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. So it's a wonderful skill to have, especially if you're just trying to grow a life. Unfortunately for you, you may not have passed it. You may not have gotten the genetic turn with that
I
one.
mean, I'm handy-ish.
You want some shrubs? I'll make you some shrubs. You want some dry kindling? I can make it. Just give me 4 to 6 minutes.
I'm kind of
kill off everything
I'm kind of
here.
handy in that sense. You know, I'm good with a knife. I can tie knots. I can start fires. I'm a good survivalist. I got those skills down. But yeah,
You're an
like,
Eagle Scout.
fixing fucking sinks and shit, and not my thing. I mean, I can do it, but I need some YouTube help. You know.
You do it by earning the money and then paying some guy
That is
who's
the
really
best way to
proficient.
do it. That is the best way.
That's
to
called
do it,
economies
man.
of scale.
That is the best way to do it.
Man.
So yeah, I think we're way off topic here. So a shout out to our listener, most awesome teacher in the world, for coming up with our new slogan. The most important project you'll ever work on is you.
Mama
so
Drew.
thank you, Mama Drew. And I'd like to give it another shout out to Podbelly Podcast Network
Always.
and all those podcasts on the network. talking to some of the co-hosts about doing a little swap casting, maybe some guest hosting.
Ooh,
So,
that'd be fun. Barstow, here we come.
I got my eye on you, Mandy.
Ooh.
So yeah, you're my, and Patty, you too. So if you're listening,
Here we
hit me
go.
up. Got my eye on you. Yeah,
Love it.
Pick a topic. Let's go. And you girls at we're not sure yet. You too. Got my eyes on you. My ears too. That sounded creepy. I'm not trying to be creepy. I'm just saying I want.
He's got
I want
all
you
of
guys,
his senses feeling out for the next best guest host
I'm just
or
saying
whatever
I
we're
want you
gonna
guys
do.
to come on our show. It'll be fun.
It'd be awesome.
Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. Have a good one. This is Tim and Steve
Booyah.
from Project Reclamation signing off. Just remember, stay true to your roots and then grow whatever fucking tree you want. And that's because the most important project you'll ever work on is you. So that being said, have a great week. And until next time, my friends, be good. Peace.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.